Hello, everyone. Today is June 5th, and Letecia Stauch was back in court today. Before I get into what happened in court, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be sure to share this video where you can, and converse with me in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Okay, so Letecia walked into the courtroom dressed in orange. She's not wearing the yellow outfit that is basically for suicide watch, as far as I know. So she was dressed in orange. She avoided eye contact and had what was described as a soft smile on her face. She was in full restraints, which means she had her wrists cuffed together and attached to a belt around her waist. She had chains on her ankles. She was not wearing a mask, and she had two deputies accompanying her. She's the only one that wasn't wearing a mask. There were only 5 people seated in the gallery. All of them were wearing masks. I believe 2 of them were with the media. Gannon's father, Al, sat in the front row, and Landon, Gannon's mother, attended via telephone. The judge came in. He was wearing a mask. And after the judge went over health and safety steps that are being taken, the criminal charge for her escape attempt, which is case number 2020 CR 3170, was brought up. And then it was known that Ms. Chalmers withdrew from the defense, and it turns out that it didn't have anything to do with Letecia. She was promoted to public defender, state training director, so a big promotion for her, and that's why she left Letecia's defense team. Then the defense mentioned that the new rules for jail visitations are working, but they are getting more restrictive, and that at first they were allowed to go in at 8 p.m., but now it is 11 p.m. or midnight before they can see Letecia. And the judge said, so long as you still have access, I'm going to assume things are okay. If that changes, let me know. And then bail for the escape charge was brought up. It was set at $2,000 yesterday, but her homicide charges are still no bond, though, so it doesn't matter whether her escape attempt has a $2,000 bond or not. She's still not getting out. Anyway, then it was mentioned that the whole time this was going on, Letecia had her hair covering her face, hiding her face from everyone in the courtroom. Then the defense brought up their frustrations with their investigation and travel for their investigation, claiming again that the pandemic has restricted their ability to do their jobs. And you'll recall that they had said this in a motion prior to it, and the judge kind of scolded them in his rebuttal at that time. So at this time, the judge said that there is no constitutional right to discovery. So then I looked it up, and in 429 U.S. 545 of 1977, the Weatherford v. Bursey, the Supreme Court ruled that the defendant in a criminal case has no federal constitutional right to general discovery. So then the judge kind of advised them to do the best they can. And then they were talking about competency hearing for Letecia, and all parties, including the judge, agreed that Letecia fits Tier 1, and that there is a probability that she will be a danger to herself and others in the jail. And the defense was told that any information that they want the evaluator to consider during Letecia's competency evaluation, they need to provide to the prosecution as well. And then it was noted that Letecia's hands, which were cuffed in front of her, shook every once in a while, and that she was slightly bouncing in her chair. And that's from observer Spencer Wilson from KTTV. And then the judge said that he will rule on the investigation problems with the defense once they figure out the competency issue. The prosecution stated that they want all the forensic interviews videotaped, and they want a list of any and all people who have treated Letecia in the past for any competency issues or underlying issues, mental disorders or mental defect. And the defense objected to sending the names to the prosecution, and the judge says he's going to think it over, that he needs both sides to file briefs on the matter. The prosecution needs to file by June 12th. The defense has to respond by July 7th. The prosecution has until July 17th to rebut the defense's response, and then the judge will make a ruling. But in the meantime, if the evaluation comes back stating that Letecia is competent to stand trial, then the whole issue of mental health records is moot anyway. And then going into what goes on with this competency thing, ordinarily by law, Letecia has to get this to the state hospital in Pueblo within 14 days, and then the evaluation has to be done in 21 days. But the Tier 1 classification that Letecia has means that the state mental hospital will pick her up within 7 days. And the judge states that both the jail and the hospital facilities may require isolation to make sure that Letecia is not infectious. So the whole process might be more drawn out than that. And so July 17th at 9 a.m. is the next meeting after the mental health evaluation. Where, this is, like I said, a competency thing. It's not whether she was sane or not at the time of any crimes that she's accused of. It's whether or not she is currently competent to stand trial. Then the defense brought up the autopsy report, and they said that they have not received it yet. And then the prosecution responded that they don't have it either, that Florida Medical Examiner's Office is held up due to issues with that, and that Florida sent El Paso County the jawbone, and El Paso County was able to compare dental records, and they confirmed that it's Gannon through the dental records, and they said that that's the first positive ID. And then the judge asked about DNA profiles from Florida, and the prosecution stated that Florida had been unable to make positive ID or a DNA profile, and they think that the process will go faster over there in Florida now that they've been able to make a positive ID as Gannon. And then the prosecution also stated that they are sending the molars from the jaw to a crime lab in Colorado for a DNA profile, and that they expect that to be successful in adding proof that this is Gannon. Then the motion about the leaked affidavit was brought up, and the defense reminded the judge that it was already dealt with. And so the current status is the prosecution stated that they are dealing with a total of 115 search warrants, that 113 of them were regular search warrants, and 2 of them are wiretaps. And then the defense says that they have already received 23,000 pages of discovery to date. And then just a little aside there, the motion for a competency hearing was made yesterday, right after the preliminary hearing for that escape plan that Letecia had. And competency just decides whether she's competent to stand trial. It doesn't have anything to do with what her mental state was at the time of any crimes that she's accused of. And she will remain locked up in limbo until she is competent to stand trial, if she is not already competent to stand trial. And, she's not getting out. She's a danger to herself. She's a danger to others. And, whether she's competent or not remains to be seen. But there's no way she's getting bond after the escape attempt and the other things that indicate that she is a danger to herself and to society. So there's a court date in July, and where they're just going to be discussing the competency issue, and then I believe the next one is in September. I will put in the discussion, or like add onto this video the date once I look it up again to make sure that I'm giving you guys the correct information. Thank you for watching, and like I said, subscribe and hit that notification bell in order to stay up to date, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car with JuleZ. Letecia walked into the courtroom dressed in orange, and she avoided eye contact and had what was described by Spencer Wilson as from KT. So Letecia